Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at some new screenshots for Final Fantasy XI Mobile. Yeah, pretty much whenever anything happens with 11 Mobile, we have to do a video about it because any sort of news or screenshots are so few and far between. So these screenshots were actually found by someone over on the Final Fantasy XI Reddit by the name of RCL. At least that was the post that was linked to me by my community member, Kersplosion. So RCL, thank you for finding this and bringing it to our attention. They said they just go searching for 11 mobile stuff occasionally, and they found this on the Nexon job listing website. I think if we scroll up, it actually says it's the scenario writer. Yeah, recruiting scenario writers to work on Final Fantasy XI Mobile. For those who didn't know, Nexon is co-developing this with the Final Fantasy XI team. So we don't know what exactly that means for the business model, since it's going to be a mobile game. We don't know who really gets the last call on that, if it's Nexon or Square Enix. But all we know is it's Final Fantasy XI Mobile, and we've gotten next to nothing in news in the last 2 years. So let's see, with these screenshots, let's see if we can try to just glean some information or compare it to certain other things that have been said in the past. So with this first screenshot, looks to be two warriors. I'm going to say it's just a warrior wearing a greatsword on the right-hand side. And I was originally going to say that it looks like they're looking over a redesigned Tarangni Canyon, but that almost looks like an outpost that's being controlled by Windurst there in the back. I can't really make out some of the other structures that are really far away, though they're most likely just rock structures. So this could be what is the entrance to the Bubarimbu Peninsula, but it'd have to be heavily reimagined for it to be that. I'm assuming that they're going to not necessarily have outposts and certain landmarks in the exact same places or zones. It can't be an exact replica of all the Final Fantasy XI zones just tuned up. It probably just put an outpost or something in Tarangni Canyon, and that's what we're actually looking at here. But either way, for Final Fantasy XI updated graphics, it's looking pretty good. They look a little bit maybe too smoothed out, but for mobile graphics, I'd say that they're starting to look pretty good. In the second screenshot here, we have what looks to be a Mithra riding a chocobo, but specifically, they're on their chocobo inside of, is that Sandoria? It looks to be inside of Sandoria. So it looks like they may be lifting the limitation on riding mounts in town, or it could just be for screenshot purposes. I mean, I could just be reading way too much into it, but you can see a couple of people back there, another person on a chocobo, the guy on the left, specifically, that is a Galka doing what I believe is their kneeling / rest animation. So take that however you will, and then you can just see what looks to be this little Tartar right here. There's one of the guards saluting in the back, and the other person riding on their chocobo. Now, in the next screenshot, things start to get a little bit more interesting. This is most likely Gelsba Outpost. They look to be low level enough. The bridges are incredibly familiar. This is that same character from the previous screenshot being chased by a couple of orcs. What's most interesting to me is if you look at the orc in the back, he's surrounded by this red aura. Now, I read a few other comments about this, and initially it's implied that because the Mithra is looking behind them, that it could be a target reticle, a way to just highlight a target when you select them to let you know who you're currently attacking. That's not made abundantly obvious, though, when we look at one of the screenshots that's coming a little bit later. It looks like the orc is also performing a skill, so it could be related to that as well. But without any sort of user interface or any other information to go on, we can only assume it's one of those two things. Next screenshot, mostly pure scenery. If I had to take a guess, that's probably Ronflower. And it's got an Elvon in their starting gear, and it's just a nice looking picture to show off the area. Nothing really too much to say about that other than I would guess that it's Ronflower. And the final picture down here, now this one is one I want to talk about a little bit. This shows the same character from the two other screenshots, the one that was being chased by the orc. At least I think it is. I can't really tell. It also shows the Galka character that was kneeling earlier, and it looks like the same Tarotaro character who was the warrior before, except they've job changed, and now they are probably on, I can't make out that armor. It looks like they're wearing a Windurstian Akaton, so I can't really tell, although it looks like an elemental staff. Could be Black Mage, could be Summoner. I'd be willing to put my my money on Black Mage in this case. But the most important thing is they appear to be fighting an Adamantoise. It looks like the guy over on the right is tanking right now. and then they're running in to fight it. Now, the big thing with this is, you notice how there's 3 people on the screen right now. There's an old detail in an old Reddit post, and I'm sure that I know there's a source to like a really old Reddit post in the Reddit thread where this was initially shared. So that might actually be the source. I should probably take a look after this. That said that the primary, like most of the gameplay experience you had in Final Fantasy XI Mobile was going to be in parties of 3. Now, that wasn't all that was said. I remember something about collecting heroes or something like that. I don't know what that meant, if that meant like trusts or just getting to know NPCs, and it was just a rough translation. I don't remember exactly what it was. But to see exactly 3 players on the screen right now tells me they may be still going down that lines of mostly being focused on content that's around 3 players. Now, it's not to say that there can't be content with more. The standard party size in the original Final Fantasy XI was 6, and this is half of that. So it could just be casual content done with 3 and more serious content done with 6. But I personally, with a mobile game, be pretty hard pressed to imagine having content with 18, 36, 64 people on top of the frustrations of trying to get that many people together, especially on a game that's on your phone. So this may be an indication that they're still sticking with the plan of going with primarily 3-player parties, in which case if the person on the left is a black mage, then there's probably a lot more going on here gameplay mechanic wise that we're not seeing, or it's just a fancy looking screenshot and we should stop looking so much into it. But those are some screenshots with Final Fantasy XI Mobile. Every time we get something new, I always say, man, maybe we'll get something a little bit more later. I can't really devote too much time to Final Fantasy XI. It's really tough for me to stay invested in the game nowadays. I like to revisit it with the free logins occasionally. Speaking of which, this video is May 13th I'm making this. May 16th is going to be another free login period, so maybe hit it up for a couple of days, but I'm already done with Rhapsody's Vana'diel and all that stuff, so not really sure it's really worth it. But yeah, there's going to be free logins, and this, we don't know anything else. We just want to know more about it, and who knows when we'll learn more with these screenshots. Apparently they still need scenario writers, so unless it's for patches after the initial one, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. On top of that, don't forget that the initial Final Fantasy XI mobile launch is looking to contain content up to Chains of Promethea, but they look to eventually add content up to and through Rhapsodies of Vana'diel. So quite a bit, but we'll have to see how they reimagine it for the mobile phone port. Maybe get a Steam port too. Fingers crossed. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Let me know what you think of these screenshots. Let me know if there's any details I missed or if there's any details you'd like to know more about. And we can try to take a look for those, hopefully, when some more information surfaces. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned. If something more happens with 11 Mobile, I'll be sure to let you know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.